All right, welcome. So I just finished 70 some days of living in a tent, and I've been in my car for the last week, maybe 5 days or so. And the car camping isn't as beautiful as the tent camping was, I can tell you that. But I'm committed to it, and not because I have to do it, because I want to do it. Right? I want to show people that you could be happy anywhere and under any circumstances. I have the means and the places to go, and so many people have reached out, and and I just made a commitment to kind of go do the Appalachian Trail, and I have no idea what I'm doing, and I've never mountain hiked in my life, and certainly am inexperienced, and but I just felt moved to do it, and I joined this page, and so many people have reached out to me with their testimonies and their stories of how they changed their life or how they wish they could do this, and so many inspirational stories, man, and every single person has been through some hardship or traumas, and nobody's immune from that, and nobody escapes that, and that is a personal thing, and I can only share my experience of how I have changed my perspective and perception of things, and how I have been transformed. And I'm going to give you some things that you can do today, starting today, that can help you, like, to have a new outlook on life, and to get over some of them things. So I have a saying also that says, when your greatest weakness or your greatest trauma becomes your greatest asset, you become invincible, man. I mean, you really do. Like, things don't bother you the way they used to, and I've been blessed and graced with this, and my journey has shown me that I hold the power, right? So I want to start with a question first of all. So something bad happens to you, something traumatic that you wish hadn't happened. What is easier? To change, to go back in the past and change what has happened, or to change your opinion of it and the way you perceive it, right? And the answer is pretty clear. But what exactly does that mean? How do you do that? And the first thing I want to share with you, and maybe you've heard it before, but it was pretty profound for me, but it's the Chinese farmer story, and labeling things as good or bad. And so this Chinese farmer has a horse and that helps to plow the land, and one day his horse runs away, and all the neighbors come up and they said, this is a wise farmer. All the neighbors come up and say, oh, what horrible luck, now you don't have a horse to plow the field. And the farmer just looks at him and he says, maybe it is bad luck, and maybe it's not. And they all think he's a crazy old goot, man, an old man. But the next day, that pony comes back with 8 other wild horses. Now he had one, then he had none. Now he has 9 horses. And all the neighbors are like, whoa, what a stroke of good luck. Now you have a whole fleet of horses to help you plow your land, and it's such a blessing and such a good, prosperous thing that happened. And he says, maybe. And they say, what do you mean maybe? You didn't have any horses, and now you have 9, and you're not satisfied with that. And the next day, his son is out there trying to break in one of the new horses, and he gets thrown from the horse, and he breaks his leg and shatters it. And all the neighbors come out again, and they say, oh, what terrible luck. Now your son can't help you plow the field, and he's injured badly. And the farmer just says, maybe. And again, the neighbors think he's crazy. But the next day, the Chinese army comes recruiting young men to go fight a far-off war, and they see that the boy's leg is shattered into pieces, and they turn him down, and they leave without taking the son to war. And all I'm trying to say is that we label things as good or bad, and Lao Tzu has a saying that says, wonderful new beginnings are often disguised as painful endings, and everything in life ends. Everything in life ends. It doesn't matter what it is. Relationships end. People pass away. Stars turn into black holes, mountains erode. Everything is suffering and everything ends. And endings by design, we label them as bad. And so much so that we focus so much on that ending that we forget the gifts up until that point. And I don't care what the circumstance is, right? It could be a marriage of 25 years that suddenly deteriorates, and you go through a divorce and you end up hating each other so bad, and we focused on that ending so bad and what that other person had done wrong to us, or that we forget those beautiful moments of 25 years of loving moments. And I'm not saying every circumstance is the same, and I get it. I can only share my experience that once I let go of, or once I change my focus and what I pay attention to, what you focus on and what you pay attention to, you become conscious of. And I know it seems easier said than done, but even Dr. Joe Dispenza says that, like, we all have a fight or flight in us that's natural, and every animal in the kingdom has it. A gazelle has it. It gets chased by a lion, and its heart rate, cortisol gets dumped, and it's in complete stress. But once the chase is over, gazelle goes back to eating grass. Our brains don't have eyes. They can't see if it's actually happening or if we are replaying it. It doesn't know the difference between if it's really happening in real life or we're just reliving it and replaying it and focusing on it. So as humans, we spend most of our life in stress, and this is where sickness comes, and this is where disease comes, and our thoughts have the power to make us well, and they also have the power to make us sick, right? So what we pay attention, and I'm not saying to just brush things off. Pain hurts, and it's difficult, but you are so powerful. You and only you have the power to change your life. And I want to give you a few suggestions, right? And I think I shared on this Facebook page with a bunch of people that I have no idea what I'm doing when I'm walking the Appalachian Trail, and I have no experience. But one of the first things you could do in your life is don't complain. And we all have something to complain about. I could be on that trail and I could say, I'm so inexperienced and I don't have the legs that a lot of these thru hikers have, and I'm feeling the pain. But everybody out there is feeling the pain, right? Everybody. And my pain isn't greater than other pains, right? What I pay attention to and what I focus on, I become conscious of. Don't live in the past. Don't keep reliving. And I'm not a therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And I believe we have to address our traumas, and we have to own them, and we have to wear them, and we have to be vulnerable. And I honestly believe that the greatest thing that ever happened to me was being an alcoholic and suffering in addiction immensely and going through all of that I went through, because I wouldn't be able to experience these beautiful moments and the freedom that I have today. Even if I never went through that trauma, even if I never went through that immense suffering and incapacitation for 20 hours a day and giving up on life and slowly killing myself and not wanting to live, even if I didn't have that, then I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't be experiencing the absolute beauty I am and the freedom that I have. And just like the Chinese farmer story, it's not good or bad. It happened. I don't label it as good or bad anymore. It happened. So a couple of things. Number one, don't complain about situations. Number two, Don't live in the past. The lowest form of consciousness you could possibly have is guilt and shame. And if we live in that, we're going to suffer immensely. Try to be in a position of neutral where you don't label things as good or bad. Don't blame others. Number 3. And sure, others hurt us. But the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus has a quote, and I'm paraphrasing. He says, if a passerby gave away our bodies to somebody, we would be furious. Yet we hand over our minds willingly for others to abuse, kick, stomp, and beat to death. Have we no shame, right? Bad things have happened to me just as well as they've happened to every single being walking this planet. But I kicked my own ass. I kicked my own butt day after day, wallowing in self-pity, refusing to address these situations, blaming everybody. You can learn a lot from some of these great philosophers and Stoicism in general. And I'll even use this spiritually. One of the greatest lessons in the Bible to me is that Jesus was accused of a crime. He was beaten mercifully, made to carry his own cross within inches of his death, and he never ran. He never fought. He never tried to get away. And I don't know if he said this or where I heard this. You could beat my body mercifully, but you can never trust, or you can never touch the Christ conscious within, or the Buddha conscious within, or the conscious within, or whatever you say. You could beat my body mercifully, but you can never touch my true nature, my true being. And that shows impeccable power. That is real power. And that's in each and every one of us, right? So don't complain. Don't live in the past. Stop blaming others. Don't speak more than you listen. If we're struggling and we want to share with people that, by all means. But also be open-minded to listen to how others have overcome theirs. We say it, and I've said it over and over for years, but you don't understand. But. Sometimes people are there to help us. I believe everybody is put in our path to show us the way, to point us back to ourselves and to God and to Source and the Creator. So let's try to listen to those signs and pay attention to them. Don't live in fear of external events. We can't control anything. It's, we have a saying that's stay in your hula hoop. I can't control what the world is, what's happening in the world. The only thing I can really control is myself and the things that I pay attention to. Don't live in fear of what might happen tomorrow. Try to be completely in the moment. Don't live in the past. Don't complain. Listen more than we speak. And don't blame others. Maybe somebody did do something bad to us. Maybe that's painful. Maybe we have experienced loss. But when we stop blaming others, when we take responsibility for our lives and follow the examples that are laid before us, that you could do whatever you want, but but I'm in charge of how long I kick my own ass and how much pain I suffer from. Don't isolate yourself. Either God is everything or is nothing. If God is everything, then everything I see is God. Every person, every being, every animal, every creature, every tree, every sunset, every sunrise, and they're all there to teach me something. So don't isolate yourself. Don't back down from challenges. It doesn't matter if you conquer them. It doesn't matter if you label it as successful or not successful, because that's just a construct. It's just a label. Challenge yourself. Try different things. Be open-minded. For so long I lived in this box, and it was the only world I knew. And then suddenly, supposed bad things happened to me, right? And I'm freed from this box. It's not a box anymore. It's the whole world opened up to me. We have survived 100% of every bad thing, supposed bad thing that ever happened to us, and it's made you who you are right now. So don't back down from challenges. Don't neglect the well-being of others. Sometimes, especially in my recovery setting, the only way we can get rid of self-pity, self-remorse, guilt and shame is to listen to others, stop talking, listen to others, and be there for them. A lot of people try to thank me for being of service to people, and I say it all the time, it's a reciprocal relationship. I learn more from them than they could ever possibly get from me. And there's a selfish aspect for me being selfless, because I reap the benefits internally. I no longer look for anything externally to fulfill me. And don't overconsume information. Watching the news or engaging in rumors or gossip and trying to gather all this information, because that just perpetuates the illusion that we're living in. You are so powerful. And I will ask this question again. Something bad happens to you, some traumatic event, and you wish it never happened. What can you do about it? Can you change the past, or can you change your opinion of what happened? And when you change your perspective or perception of what happened, your opinion of what happened, you step into your power and you become immensely invincible. Wonderful new beginnings are often disguised as painful endings. The worst day of my life, being arrested, publicly humiliated and shamed, a former narcotics detective arrested for selling drugs, and having to be arrested by the same people I used to work for, turned out to be one of the biggest blessings in my entire life. I learned a lot from the Chinese farmer story. Sorry about that, I got cut off, no more storage in my phone, so you're super powerful, and you are responsible for your life. Turn your biggest trauma or your biggest weakness into your greatest asset. Be helpful to others. Don't complain. Don't live in the past. Don't blame others. Don't isolate. Don't live in fear of external circumstances or what might happen. Don't shy away from challenges. Don't neglect the well-being of others. Basically comes down to be kind. Focus your thoughts on positive things. And jump in. Be like the Chinese farmer. There is no good or bad in the grand scheme of things. Things just happen. It's a happening. When we accept things as they are and not as the way we want them to be, then we experience freedom. A lot of that comes from the Stoicism philosophy. The great philosophers, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, is a great example. Guy's the emperor of Rome, could have anything he ever wanted, and he lived a simple and humble and self-reflective life. And of course, there's no greater example than you could beat my body mercifully. Doesn't matter what you do to me, to this. You can never, never touch the consciousness with it. So looking forward to Appalachian Trail, and I am human. So if you catch me complaining, remind me, because some of the conditioning runs deep, man. And but I will listen to others. I will speak less and listen more. Take the advice of people. Look for the signs of God in everybody. I'm not unique. What I experience is available to everybody, because it's what you are. It's who you are. Underneath all that self, false self, it's what you are. Stop feeding the sickness. Your thoughts have the power to make you sick. They also have the power to make you well. Appreciate you guys. Please hit like, please share, please comment. And I know people are suffering and struggling, and I hope this helped. And it's not condescending to anybody, because I was unable to do any of this myself. I was toiled in self-pity and complaining and blaming others and guilt and shame. Today I try to be neutral, try to be the Chinese farmer. Appreciate you.